Hello, it's Lion here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're going to be doing another manga review. Today we're going to be looking at Dragon Ball, specifically the Tien arc, which is chapters 113 to 134, so it's 22 chapters, I think, and it was pretty good. So the author, of course, is Akira Toriyama, legendary mangaka, and the publisher is Viz. I read it on the Shonen Jump app, and honestly, I have to say that it's very good manga, but it really needs to get an updated translation because there's so many things that are just like not, what they should be. Like Krillin is spelled as Kuririn instead of Krillin, which I guess is how the Japanese people say it, but that's not how we say it in English, right? Like it should be updated to actually follow what has been established for like 20 years, right? But it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of a little bit annoying. Maybe they'll do a special hardcover release with the new covers that they're doing for the series, and maybe they'll do an updated translation with that. I'm not sure, but I would really like that to happen. Demographic-wise, of course, it's a shonen. Genre-wise, it's a fantasy martial arts series, and of course, it has been adapted to Hell and Back. And the latest kind of thing that's been going on has been the new superheroes movie, which is really good. I actually really enjoyed it. Rating for this arc was actually a 4 out of 5. I quite liked it. Premise-wise, it's basically the return of Goku. It's been 3 years, and it's time for the strongest under the heavens tournament again. And this time, not only has the Turtle Hermit shown up, but also the Crane Hermit, the Suru Seinen, I think is what it was called. And he shows up. He has 2 disciples with him, Tien Shinhan, I think is his name, and Xiaotsu, this little kind of like Krillin kind of character. And, well, it's a tournament, so there's a lot of fighting. And the fighting gets pretty intense, and it's pretty good. I quite liked it. I said Xiaotsu's more like Krillin, but he's actually more like Yamcha's little cat. What's his name? Apu, something like that? I don't know. He's kind of like that. So, yeah, plotline wise, Goku and the gang reunite. We get introduced to the Crane Hermit and Tien and Xiaotsu. Then the qualifiers start, and I think the most interesting fight there was Goku versus Choppa, and the qualifiers go pretty quickly. After that, Xiaotsu actually rigs the lottery system so that everyone gets matched up in a way that's beneficial to Xiaotsu and Tien, which is kind of shitty, but it works. It actually works out for the reader as well. We get Tien versus Yamcha, which is actually a pretty good fight. It's pretty quick, but Tien wins, and he's actually a very cruel individual early on, and he actually knocks out Yamcha and then breaks his leg afterwards, which is pretty fucked up, right? Then we have Jackie Chun, aka Roshi, versus this Man-Wolf character, and Roshi somehow made this guy have a grudge against him, so he fixes it by making him, like, hypnotizing him and getting Krillin to act like the moon, and it's pretty funny. I quite like that little joke. It was good. And then we have Xiaotsu versus Krillin, and we get introduced to the Dodon Ray again, which I remember correctly is the ray attack, the first ray attack that we learned before the Kamehameha, I think. It was Taupapi or Taupai or whatever, the weird assassin dude, who showed it to us initially. Then we have Goku versus Panput, who is, the epitome of humanity, but most of the fighters in this tournament are actually above human in terms of like their battle prowess. So Goku actually beats the shit out of him pretty easily, and it's a pretty good win. Then we have Tien versus Roshi, and this is actually probably the best battle in the whole arc. I liked it the most. It was pretty good, and it was pretty interesting because it had a lot of moral implications to it that I thought were pretty good. So I quite like that. I thought that was pretty enjoyable. And then Roshi actually forfeits this match because he's like, okay, Goku and Krillin finally have opponents that are strong enough for them to face. So you might as well just, he might as well just take a rest now and take it easy now that there's enough people around to make sure that his students don't get bored, which is pretty cool. And then Tien gets kind of mad about this, but also he kind of gets a perspective shift, which is actually pretty good. It works out nicely by the end of the chapter, or by the end of the arc, right? Then we have Goku versus Krillin, which is not a bad fight. It was pretty good, actually. Then Goku wins because, I mean, it doesn't matter how smart Krillin fights. Goku's always going to beat him just because he's so much stronger, just like naturally, right? Because he gets that Senkai boost and stuff. But he still put up a fight, and I think it was a pretty good one. So, yeah, then we have the final fight, which is Goku versus Tien. And this one was also a pretty good battle with lots of fun. And it was a pretty good ending, but it was kind of unlucky. So it kind of sucks. But it was also kind of enjoyable. And I think it's kind of funny that Goku loses every time. And usually it's like for dumb reasons. So I'm guessing that eventually, before the end of the Dragon Ball section of the story, he's going to win big time and it's going to be great, right? So that'll be pretty enjoyable. Or maybe it's a gag where like Goku never wins the tournament. I don't remember. It kind of reminds me of like, you know, that thing where Naruto never gets past the Chunin exams just because, like, initially because he's bad, and then at the end of the story because he's too good. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it kind of reminds me of that, which obviously probably was taken from Dragon Ball, right? Since Naruto came afterward. So, yeah, it basically ends there, and it's pretty good. And it actually ends in a cliffhanger because someone, like, kills Krillin or something. I don't remember this part of the story when I watched it as a kid. But it's pretty interesting, and it leaves off on a good cliffhanger. So, yeah, characters-wise, we have Tien, the Crane Hermit, and Chaozu. And we get a lot of growth for Goku, Krillin, and Yamcha, but nothing too crazy. It's, you know, kind of par for the course. They're going to be fighters, so they're going to get better over time, and it's been 3 years, so they're significantly better than before. In terms of world building, we learned that there's other hermits. So there's a Turtle Hermit, there's a Crane Hermit, and I'm guessing there's like more of them, and you know, it's possible, or maybe they just never got introduced. I'm not really sure. But, you know, if there's like a crane, a turtle, does that mean there's like a tiger and a dragon and, you know, some other hermit of some other kind like that? Because that's usually like the group of animals, right? It would be like specific types of martial arts. But it's kind of interesting. And I think we get 3 or 4 special techniques introduced. We have the blinding sun attack. We have the one where you shoot a disc of ki. We have one where Tien grows extra arms for some reason. And there was something else. Oh, levitation, of course. So I think there's like 4 or 5 techniques that get introduced. In terms of artwork and fan service, artwork is great. There is no fan service in this part of the story, which is probably a good thing because I can't really think of an organic way to introduce it in some way, but, you know, Launch and Bulma were there, so it might have been possible, but it just didn't happen. And finally, ratings-wise, it was a 4 out of 5. It was a good fun arc, but it wasn't so amazing. It was just kind of like, okay, I've seen this all before, and of course, that's just because I've interacted with Dragon Ball a lot over the course of my life, right? So nothing about this is super surprising or super interesting, but the nostalgia also doesn't push it past, you know, that barrier that I needed to push past to get a 5. So yeah, it's kind of par for the course for stuff I read. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, but it wasn't ultimately something I'm going to really think about all that much. So there you go. That's Dragon Ball, the Tien arc, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know your thought, and thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.